Bună dimineața și bun găsit la BU! Sunt Sabina Iosub și vă invit să rămâneți alături de mine în următoarea jumătate de oră, căci o să discutăm despre energie și tot ceea ce se pregătește și se gândește aici la nivel european. Today, here with me in the European Parliament in Brussels is Svetlana Penkova. Thank you so much for your presence.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
We have to discuss about this situation in the energy sector because we are seeing that a lot of specialists are talking again about an energy crisis.
Before we start, please allow me to congratulate the Romanian and Bulgarian citizens for entering Schengen finally, because this is a big success, and this actually leads us also to the energy topic. This is one of the success stories which shows that the regional unity can help us overcome certain burdens or even borders that have been set ahead of us. So this is one of the main and key aspects we should be thinking about in the Southeast European region when we speak about the energy security and the energy prices. So what we see at the moment is a big discrepancy and gap between the electricity prices in South and Eastern Europe and in the Northern Europe. So this basically leads us to the conclusion that we should be pushing our European partners to be working more towards a key priority of electricity grid connectivity, because this is the only way we can guarantee that once we share the different resources of energy we have in the different parts of Europe, that's the only way to make sure that our consumers would have low and more or less similar prices all across the EU. So I think this should be one of the main priorities for Bulgaria and Romania, because we have a very unique geographic location in Europe as well. We are currently the entry point for any alternative energy resources supply like natural gas, and we're also the beginning of that interconnection to the whole of Europe when we have the common electricity grid.
What is the situation in your country, in Bulgaria right now, regarding the prices, the way the market is moving?
So the prices the Bulgarian consumers and industry are paying are quite high relative to the rest of Europe, and the regulatory authorities are trying to do their best. There is a lot of support provided for the industry and for the consumers for the price above certain limits, so they get the compensation from the state.
And that's the situation also in Romania.
Exactly. So this was just agreed and accepted to be, basically this mechanism was extended towards the end of March already, but we all understand this is a temporary measure. We need to be thinking and finding medium and long-term solutions, because I was speaking with the Bulgarian industry recently, and that's where they're saying, okay, this is helping us, but we need to know that we have a safe and secure future ahead of us. And they were also actually calling for a bit more cooperation at the regional level.
We are seeing that in terms of energy, we've passed some crises in the recent years, and we've discussed together about this situation that was generated by the invasion of Russia in Ukraine, the way that the European Union had to react to this situation. But have we really learned something from that crisis? Have we really made the necessary things to be made in the European Union in order not to have such a hit like that?
I think we've learned two important things. The first one is that when we speak about a stable energy mix, yes, renewables are important. We need to invest in renewables and have those renewable energy sources across the EU. But without base load power, we cannot guarantee stability in the energy and electricity system. So we need base load power, which is, in the case of Europe, nuclear and natural gas. And the second thing is what I was saying in the beginning. We need to be actually building a proper connected European electricity grid, because that's the only way that we can benefit from everything that has been done so far and everything that has been invested in. So if we have energy produced from wind in the north and we have the solar energy in our part of Europe, I know Romania is very good also in the wind energy production and you're taking advantage of that, but that's not the case everywhere. That's not the case in Greece or Bulgaria. So having invested in a lot of renewables, now is the time to make sure that we can exchange the oversupply of energy, the different parts of the day and night or different parts of the year. Because that's the way we have to create an efficient energy system within the EU. Otherwise, we're going to be speaking about energy production that's going to waste. So first of all is the energy mix, which we have already established in the last 5 years, having learned the lessons in a very difficult way. And now we have to create a properly working, connected European Union when we invest in the electricity grid, especially when we speak about our region. The key importance for us is to keep pushing for that to be from the direction south to north, and we have to keep investing in storage technologies and capacities, because that's the only way to ensure that we have independent, autonomous, working, fair and cheap energy across all the EU, not competing among each other. That's key.
It was a discussion in the recent years also about blackout at the level of the European Union due to the fact that we are not producing enough electricity. Is it possible to have another crisis like that, not being able, because we are not cooperating, because we are not working together, because we don't have enough storage to have a crisis in the electricity market?
I think it's probably too much to speak about blackouts. I believe that the electricity production in Europe is still stable. The problem is to make sure that the market functions in a way that we have competitive prices all across the EU, without, as you said, without competing. So I don't think it's a matter of not enough energy being produced. It's a matter of how we distribute it to use it in the most efficient and effective way in all different parts of the EU. And further to that, yes, we have to be fair. We are dependent on some energy resources that we don't have in the EU, natural gas, like the German economy, for instance, like the industry there is running mostly on natural gas. So we have to be fair in those conversations. We need additional supply of natural gas in the EU if we don't want to collapse the economy of the European Union. To get that, we have to find alternative routes and we have to diversify the suppliers. And again, this puts Bulgaria and Romania on the very important key strategic map here, because one of the strategic partners we can look at is Azerbaijan. They've been the first one to actually react to the crisis, to the gas crisis when it happened in 2021, and to show availability to support Europe. They have almost doubled their production capacities in the last 3 years to make sure that they provide enough energy resources to the EU. So now we have to invest in infrastructure, and we have to take the key and the leading role of the fact that we need to be able to transport that key resource. We do acknowledge that this is a transitional solution. We do acknowledge that natural gas is probably slowly going to be leaving the energy mix of the EU, but we're speaking about the need for natural gas for at least 2 decades ahead. And to be honest, our partners from Azerbaijan, they understand that, but that's still a long-term investment which needs a long-term commitment. So I think here, really, our part of Europe has a key role to play, and we have to be pushing and explaining that to our European partners, because investment in infrastructure with the common EU funds would be also beneficial for our region in the long-term future when we are speaking about the transportation of biomethane or any alternative fuels for the future.
How will things change with the new US politics?
Well, I think this is making all the things we are speaking about even more urgent, because it seems that the autonomy and the independence of the EU that we've been praising about in the last few years now has to happen. Because from anything we've seen in the geopolitical situation in the last 5 years, we've learned that we need to make sure to build a resilient and autonomous system within the EU, helping each other and cooperating with each other.
Thank you so much for this discussion.